I've had the Capital One credit card since 2008. So I've had this card for 15 years. And originally, I just turned 18 years old and I wanted a credit card. Capital One was the first company, the bank that contacted me and say, hey, you were approved for a credit card if you want to look into one. And at that time in my life, I was kind of tight for money. I wanted to travel and I wanted to go back to Peru and visit. Keep in mind that I had only been here for a couple of years until that point. I applied for Capital One with no credit whatsoever, and I had a $500 limit, which in my eyes, I thought I literally was balling. Now, before we go into the Quicksilver features, I want to show you here whether or not Capital One is a good credit card company. Is it a good bank? Now, personally, I used this credit card when my wife and I, at the time, my girlfriend, we went from Washington, D.C. all the way to San Francisco. We traveled, we did a road trip, and I used it for a rental of the vehicle, mainly because of the insurance protection. I just wanted to go with something that I was familiar with at the time. Also, I've used this credit card when I went to Peru, Canada, I went to Niagara Falls and Toronto. And also, I've never had bad experiences with customer service. This is just my personal experience. Whenever I did have a call, I've never had a problem. They always answer my questions. You do have to wait a little bit to get in line, and that's just the nature of the beast nowadays. But hey, you gotta sometimes just be a little patient, right? And it's hard sometimes, especially when things are going wrong, but it is what it is. So they resolve all my questions, answer my questions, and we're gonna see audience reviews here in a second as well. Now, with all of these said, okay, now you might be asking Alex, all right, good man. I see that you had good experiences. I see that you used the credit card. I see that you are legit to make this video and share your experience and your perspective here with us looking into the Capital One Quicksilver. So the general features, and I want to make this as simple as possible because sometimes we get lost in like all the crazy, like the contract details, and it's important to look at those details. But here I want to kind of give you an overview of the things that I personally look at when I am looking for a new credit card. So sign-up bonus. Amazingly, this credit card, the Capital One Quicksilver, has a $200 sign-up bonus, which is something that I haven't seen too many other credit cards do. You do have to spend $1,000 in the first 3 months. So for example, if you have a large purchase coming up, like let's say maybe you're buying a laptop, or maybe you have to buy something for school, maybe for work, you have to buy a desk, maybe you have to buy a YouTube studio if you're looking into creating content, whatever it happens to be, and you want to put it in a credit card, hey, you can not only get this $200 sign-up bonus, but also you get 0% APR for 15 months. So a year and 3 months is basically like you're getting $200 off whatever purchase you make, and you get 0%. So you have 15 months to pay it off. Hopefully, if you are watching this channel, you know that I'm a big believer in just paying it off as soon as possible. Beyond the 15 months, then I'm rounding up here. The APR is going to go between 20 and 30%. Depending on the credit score that you apply with, we're going to go into that in a second. And also a 30% APR on cash advance. Now, personally, I never really used cash advance, but I have heard and know some people when sometimes life just kicks you in the gut and you have to get cash out of the credit cards. So in those cases, then you have to deal with this APR, but in most instances, I want to say that you won't be dealing with that cash advance. Now, the annual fee is another amazing perk for this credit card. It's one of the reasons why I love it. The next thing I want to share here with you is when it comes to cashback, you get 1.5% unlimited cashback, which is pretty good if you think about it. It's not bad. It's decent. I want to say there's other credit cards out there like the Chase. I also have the Chase Reserve. That one has better cashback options. Also, I do use the Chase Amazon. Nowadays, the Amazon Prime credit card, with that one has unlimited cashback on purchases made on Amazon, which is a great deal. Now, with respect to this one though, you also have 5% on travel, hotels, rental cars booked through Capital One Travel. So you have to go through their website and through their system to book your leisure activities, hotels, rentals, so the way you can get your 5% cashback. Okay, are we good so far? How you liking the credit card? Let me know in the comments. All right, so this is the screenshot from the website for earning unlimited 1.5% cashback and also 2% $200 cash bonus. And we're going to go into the reviews here in a second, how it's got great reviews, and we're going to go into that now. Okay, so now if you're wondering, okay, Alex, how can I redeem my points? So let's say that I have like 10,000, 20,000 points after I make a lot of purchases on the card. Now, the really cool thing about this is that you can get an statement credit. You can also get a check if that's what you wish to do. You can redeem your points for gift cards or even Amazon.com. So if you're someone that just buys a ton of things on Amazon Prime and Amazon, you just say you have like butterfingers when it comes to just purchasing. Hey, you can redeem your points for Amazon.com. You also have 0 foreign transaction fee. As I mentioned previously, I use this credit card when I travel abroad. No transaction fees whatsoever when it comes to foreign currencies. So that's definitely a perk if you're someone that travels here and there. If you travel a lot, there are other credit cards that are better for travel purposes. But if you travel here and there and you don't want to deal with annual fees that many of the premium credit cards, especially for travel, do have, then this could be a good option for you. Now, let's take a look at something that I call it the X factor, or something that many people don't talk about, and that is customer service. Personally, I think customer service is an important feature to look at when we are analyzing any type of service. So, for example, I want to say here that customer service, from my experience, is good. And also based on the reviews, if you quantify the reviews, I look at Wallet Hub. Wallet Hub is a website that collects a lot of reviews, and they had 77,000 reviews, and they had a decent 3.7 out of 5. That's not bad if you think about it for Capital One overall. Now, Quicksilver credit card on the Capital One website itself, of course, it ranks at 4.5 out of 5, which is still pretty decent. So there's some correlation between the general public and what Capital One is publishing on their website. And one of the things that I like to point out here is whenever you are looking at reviews, it's important to go and read the reviews, because many times we do find disgruntled customers, clients that maybe for one reason or another did not get what they needed. But most of the time, I want to say that businesses do own up to the mistakes. Hopefully, sometimes customers, they just want to write a bad review. Maybe there's just a lot of things happening in someone's mind. And so let's take the reviews with a grain of salt. But generally speaking, hey, if you have 77,000 reviews and most people say it's good, then probably it's a good option. All right, so the credit needed to apply. This is something that you may be already be looking into and thinking, hey, is my credit good enough to apply for this credit card? And personally, I want to say, hey, when I first applied, I had no credit whatsoever and I still got approved. I have heard of people that get approved for 600, 650 and above. Now, the Capital One credit card suggests that you have to have an excellent credit, quote unquote. Now, excellent based on their standards, I looked into it, and it's about 670 and above. But if you don't have a good enough credit now and you're looking to build your credit and you have no credit whatsoever, then I will still apply. You really are not losing anything, but just applying and just seeing how it goes. Most likely you'll get approved, and that can help you build your credit. And if you had credit scores issues in the past, maybe it can help you also redeem yourself. The other thing I want to mention here before I move on to is like, don't attach your value, your worth, your confidence, your outlook on life on the credit score. I was in this Reddit community the other day, and a lot of people were complaining how they just felt sorry for themselves because their credit score went down. And I was like, it's okay. Like, your credit score, if you just keep doing your thing, if you keep making your payments, if you don't spend more than what you make and you're responsible with your loans or your credit cards, hey, it's gonna go back up. It's okay. At the end of the day, it's just a number. But I do understand that many times, hey, your credit score has a lot to do with the type of loans that you get. It has a lot to do with whether or not you get approved for an apartment, for a house. So I do understand that it's very important, but never attach your self-worth to this type of number. All right, so a couple of other important features. Fraud protection, of course. Yes, you're not responsible for any of the unauthorized charges if the card is lost or stolen. And then last but not least, there is a balance transfer fee of 3%, but then you also get the 0% for 15 months. And so let's say that if you're transferring $1,000, and then you would get a $30 fee for that transfer, and then you would pay a total of $1,030 for 15 months with no interest whatsoever. So if you have a low balance, then it's okay. If you have a really high balance, I will look into other credit cards that may offer 0% transfer fee, a 0% transfer for 0% APR for 15 months, 18 months. But you do need a higher credit score for those credit cards. They tend to be premium credit cards. Okay, now, Capital One Quicksilver pros and cons. Let's go quickly, kind of look over a recap of what we just talked about. The pros and cons, if you want to talk about that, the 200 sign-up bonus, awesome, amazing feature. No annual fee, good customer service ratings, 1.5% unlimited cashback, 0% intro APR on purchases and balance transfer for 15 months. Hey, amazing things so far. No foreign transaction fees, purchase protection, extended warranty protection, and travel accident insurance. So I like all these pros. But when you have pros, you have positives, then you also have a few negatives. Now, a few of the cons I did right here requires good, excellent credit score. But like I mentioned, I have heard things like, hey, you can get, even with 500s, you may be able to get this credit card. I've heard from people that when I was doing research for this video. So if you have a less than optimal credit, I would still apply. At that point, does it even make a difference whether or not you get approved? So also, it also has low reward rates compared to other credit cards, other premium credit cards that do require maybe a higher credit score. Maybe you do require an annual fee, like the Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserve, like Amex cards and whatnot. It's not as good as other credit cards in terms of rewards categories, and also not the best rewards for traveling. If you're looking to get this credit card, if you want to travel, then this may not be the one for you. There's definitely other options. Now, who is this card for? Is this card for you? Let's talk about that here for a second. Now, I would recommend personally, it's just me, this Capital One Quicksilver credit card to anyone who wants the $200 sign-up bonus. Hey, it's not bad. You want 0% APR for 15 months. It's good for building credit. If you want to learn the ropes of using a credit card, you want to learn to be responsible. And this is the same situation in which I was a few years ago. I'm almost decades at this point. You also have no annual fee card. You can save money on that. So that's awesome. You have decent rewards. So it's not as bad. It's not too bad. It's pretty decent. You can earn cash back. You have no foreign transaction fees to travel abroad. And the app is easy to use. Like I mentioned, I've had this card at this bank for a long time and I've never had any problems. I just have to reset my password all the time because I keep forgetting. Now, if you are interested in opening a credit card, if you're interested, hey, I'm interested in opening an account, then click the link in the description. You're going to get $200 for new members. But you do have to spend $1,000 in the first 3 months. Also, you're going to be supporting the channel at no additional cost to you. And because of that, you're going to get 10 years of good luck and you're going to reach all your financial goals, all your professional goals. And hey, may God bless you. So with that being said, guys, let me know what you think of this credit card. Is this credit card for you? Have you had any issues with Capital One? What are the other options that you are looking into? And let me know if you have any other questions